welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. My name is Dakota.
And my name is Jordan. And today we have some very exciting things lined up for you. Some predictions, some peering into the future, if you will, of what 2022 will look like for Marvel Legends. But before that, as always, we are going to be doing our opening segment called What You Got, where Dakota and I discuss what we have acquired since we spoke last here.
So, for my segment of What You Got, I'm going to start out with I got the Year 2 Batman. And so it's been a while since we've recorded a podcast, so this was a couple weeks ago that I got my Year 2 Batman. So originally I ordered two, one to keep and then one to recoup some costs of other toy sales and toy purchases. So I was super excited. Saturday morning, open the box up, super cool figure, take it apart. I'm like, all right, let's get this cloth cape on here. Arm goes in, go to turn the arm explodes. Shoot. Pack it back up, take it to Target, return it. Seemed like that was a very common occurrence on the social media groups. Tons of Batman's arms exploded. I have no idea. I don't have any of the metrics, but just by the sheer number of Facebook posts I had seen, I have to imagine like 25% of the Batmans that were opened had to have arms explode, if not more than that. I don't know. We'll see. So I don't know if that hurts the value of the sealed Batman that I still have or helps it because now there's less in circulation, but the chances of him having exploding arms is high. I don't know. For an inbox collector, I hope they still want him, but I did get another one. Luckily, when I returned it, they were still in stock, so I quick ordered a replacement. It came. I wasn't taking any chances there. Took a hairdryer to it, heated him up, as one would do with their toys. That was very sarcastic. You should not have to heat your toys, Todd.
Because we know he's listening. We know Todd McFarlane is listening to this, and because he is, Todd, we're a little peeved.
Yes,
to put it lightly.
Now that I've got him out of the box, I tested his arms. They didn't explode, so this one is staying with me. I've got him on display behind me if you're watching this and if we end up posting this visually. Pretty cool. I like the
I'll hold up a close-up of the giant cape.
Yes. I have him displayed with the big plastic cape, so I think it's cool to have that.
Maybe to our listeners we should describe there's a famous Batman panel from the Todd McFarlane Batman illustrations where he's got this big old blue billowing cape that is just exaggerated. It's like 15 feet long. So they were trying to capture that look and give you one cape that you could kind of put on as a cloth cape to pose, and the other one to be kind of more statuesque, I suppose. But unfortunately, you had to take the arms on and off to do that. And I also had some issues where I got one arm in, tried to get the other one in. I had a clean break, so it didn't totally get destroyed. But then luckily my fiance managed to get the arm in. So my Batman is stationary as well with his arms. They're staying where they are. So together, if yours is posed with the big cape and mine is posed as such with the cloth cape, we can just trade whenever we want to switch.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Yeah, and I didn't even try to get my arms on mine because of that reason that you had so much trouble getting it in there. As soon as the arms didn't pop in immediately on mine, I'm not going to risk putting an arm in there and then I'm going to have to break it to get the arm out. So the arms are just going in a drawer for me. Maybe someday if I decide I no longer like this big hard plastic cape, I'll put the arms on and break out the cloth cape, but I think I'm going to stick with this one for now. So that was kind of a really long way of saying I got the Batman year 2. And then along with that, I just saw Jordan this past weekend, and he was able to acquire some figures for me so we could save on some shipping. So I was able to get the Infinity Saga Surtur. So you remember from a previous podcast, I had said that I missed out on that clearance sale from Walmart, and Jordan was able to find him at a similar price. So got my Surtur. He's large. It's a pretty cool figure, I think. I need to get him with some lighting and really light up the lava effect. And then also got the Namor, the more classic look of Namor. So I'm excited to set that up with the newer Defenders team from the Red Hulk series, because I've got Red Hulk and Green Hulk. And then I think on that comic cover, it's Hulk, Silver Surfer, Namor, and Doctor Strange. So I'll have all of those. And then on the opposite side, I think it's Red Hulk, Tiger Shark, who I don't have yet.
Yeah. Probably, I want to say Mordo, maybe?
I would think so, but I can't picture him on the cover, but it's possible. I'll break out the covers, and then I'll see what figures I need to buy. So that's going to do it for my What You Got, and I'll save my next What You Got for the next episode. If we ever put this out visually, spoiler alert, the next round of What You Got is in the background. So, Jordan, what did you get?
And if not, feel free to imagine anything behind Dakota.
Exactly.
I also got the year 2 Batman, so we kind of covered our feelings on that. Now, Dakota, I'm not a big DC multiverse McFarlane collector. I got the Batman because I thought it was cool. And this is another oversized figure that I got. I picked up the McFarlane Swamp Thing, which is pretty tall. I mean, I'm holding him up here. He's definitely bigger than my head, which I'd say I have an average sized head. I don't know if I'd say it's giant, but I don't know. I mean, I'd seen photos of this one, but it was the only one on the shelf in Target today, actually. And I saw it, and it just something about it. And I'm like, am I going to trade it? Am I going to keep it in? I don't know. But the more I look at it, the more I'm feeling compelled to just open it up right now. So I'll wait until we're done recording here, but there will most likely be another opened DC McFarlane figure to add to my collection. So I like that because Alan Moore, who wrote Watchmen, kind of got his start on Swamp Thing. So he's a writer I like quite a bit, so I think it's kind of fun. And the Swamp Thing, kind of a crazy character, but that is where John Constantine was created by Alan Moore in the pages of Swamp Thing. So
very interesting.
A little bit of comic book factoid for you. So that is what I got.
Awesome. All right. So now that we have our What You Gots complete, we're going to move into the main part of this episode, which is going to be discussing what we are most excited about for this upcoming year and what has been announced already. And then after that, we're going to put our wish list out there to the Hasbro team, who's hopefully listening to this, and let you know the figures that we really hope are made, even if there may not be necessarily any inkling that those will actually be made, but something that we want to add to our shelves in the future and hopefully the near future. So to start off, we're going to go through our top 5 figures that we are excited are released. It's official. They're coming. And we'll do this maybe snake style, kind of like we did with our top 10 all-time favorites. And I'll go ahead and start because I've got one that's not necessarily, well, it's not a Marvel Legend. I'm excited also for the She-Spawn and really almost that whole new Spawn wave to come out. I think that She-Spawn looks pretty cool, especially with all of the accessories. She comes with multiple weapons. I think she's got actual chain. And I've been reading those current Spawn issues where she's a pretty big character in that, leading the Spawn team, the Scorched book that just came out. So excited to add her to the shelf. I've got my Spawn figures up on display behind me. Not even all of them. Debating on that. I've got 2 Mandarin Spawns. Is that really necessary? I should either have 1 or I should have all 3. So we'll see what happens with those. But I'm excited about that She-Spawn. So now, Jordan, take us into the actual Marvel Legends that have been announced. What is your number 5 spot?
Yeah, I am very excited for my 5th one is going to be the Defender Strange that is coming up. That one is a Target exclusive, and we don't really know much about this. It's basically just Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, with a ponytail. So that's exciting. But the thing that really is a cool allure for me is the portal effect that he comes with. He comes with kind of that sling ring portal. Doctor Strange is always teleporting in and out, which we have not gotten in Marvel Legends fashion yet. I've seen some people 3D print or make their own, but I'm excited to add that to my Doctor Strange display. My fiance is a big Doctor Strange fan also, so I'll probably get it just for the effect, to be quite honest. But I'm excited to see that one.
And you said he comes with a ponytail?
Yeah, he's got like a ponytail.
I did not notice that.
Yeah. So people are wondering, is it a variant? Does he just get a new costume? We don't know. I mean, seeing the movie might make me want to keep the figure more, but I definitely want the cool sling ring effect. I think that'll be a nice addition to my... Because I've got several Stranges, and, you know, heck, maybe I'll just get have a bunch of portals. I think you could do a lot of cool poses with the portals. So
very cool.
We'll see.
All right, so my number 5 is a little bit of a cheat, but we make the rules here. So my number 5 is going to actually be 3 figures, and it's going to be the X-Men, the animated series figures that are coming out in the VHS style boxes. I know some people are maybe a little hesitant with the cell shading. I don't really have much of an X-Men team to start right now, so I'm perfectly happy if my X-Men all end up being cell shaded. Plus, the boxes that they're coming in look awesome. I had some of those VHSs as a kid. I'm sure if I dug through some boxes in the basement of my parents' house, I could maybe pull out some of those VHSs, which maybe I'll have to do now that I have those others on pre-order. But I think they look really cool. People are worried about the cell shading. They just came out with the actual figures of what they're going to look like. And I was actually surprised that the cell shading isn't that drastic. I think with the Retro Venom, that was a lot of cell shading because it's just a solid black figure otherwise. And with these, I had to look pretty hard to find the cell shading on Jubilee other than the glasses, which I think the glasses looks really cool with the cell shading. The Wolverine was pretty similar. There's some differences there. Some people really don't like the cell shading on the legs because it looks like he's peeing his pants. I didn't notice that until I saw the meme, but hopefully I'm able to unsee that when I actually get the figure. Mr. Sinister is probably the one that I'm least excited about, just because he's probably got the most intense cell shading, but I have the other Mr. Sinister from the Wendigo wave. So once I get that other figure, I'll compare the two, see which one I like better, and then put the other on the chopping block, take them to the groups, and sell. So that was my number 5. Jordan, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be Null from the Donny Cates Venom saga. Now, we don't really know. I guess this could be a cheat because we don't know whether that is going to be a solo figure, a deluxe, a 2-pack. But Null is basically just the god of the symbiotes, who I know that you, Dakota, don't really love the idea of a extended symbiote lore. Personally, well, I got you those comics for
I
Christmas,
actually
which
just finished volume 1 yesterday.
And
I thought it was good. It was a good book. Still not definitely not sold on Knoll. I will say that the figure that I don't know if they've put like an actual figure out for it, but the digital rendering I think looks cooler than what he was, at least in this first volume. I would not want that super skinny Null.
well, that's what he looks like in the comics. So get used to it, buddy. You got a couple more volumes with that skinny Null. I honestly would like it to look more like that, where he's a little more gangly. But I'll just be happy to have that figure. I think that'd be cool. I hope that'd be cool if he's a deluxe or a 2-pack. Give him. I think in the comics he has like wings and a crazy sword, and it's just fun to see new characters. I mean, especially villains, where we get kind of what you expect. So it's fun to see recent creations that have kind of taken off and that I think expand the world a bit. So I'm excited for that. It'll depend upon what the actual figure looks like for me, because the digital rendering, it's always hard to tell. So we'll see, but that one at least has my interest. So I will be watching that one, as hopefully we get a fan first Friday or Wednesday or Thursday, one of these days.
Right. And that's one that I'm actually surprised that I'm not super excited about, because as you know, I have quite a symbiote collection. I've got obviously Venom, I've got the Carnage, I've got the Venomized Cap. I had Lasher, I had Superior Venom. Their tendrils I could not stand the way their tendrils were, so I got rid of those two. Venom Pool. So all of those characters I have. I had a pretty big symbiote display. Not sold on Null yet. Maybe when he comes out, if he is a deluxe or a 2-pack, you know how I like my substantial figures. I love figures with wings. If Null has wings, that might do it for me. I agree. He's got a pretty cool sword, so I'm on the fence. After I read a few more issues with him in it, maybe I'll be sold. But time will tell with him. Hopefully it's not till later in the year and I have some time to read. But
And save up.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Make some sales before they drop all the new stuff. My number 4 is going to be another cheat. And it's going to be the new retro Spider-Man wave. So, as you know, Jordan, I'm an out-of-the-box collector. However, a large majority of all of the retros that I have are still trapped in their plastic prison because it looks so cool. I have the retro Kingpin up above me off camera here, but that box is humongous because you've got to build a figure in a regular box. Super cool. And then just that classic Spider-Man cartoon logo. Just a lot of fun. I'm excited for the figures that are in the wave. Planning on getting all of them except for Hammerhead. Hammerhead's not that cool to me. It's not that great of a villain in my opinion. I know some people may be upset by that, but I don't necessarily need a flat-headed gangster in my display. I gotta draw a line somewhere, and I don't often do it, so glad I can draw the line with him. But excited about getting Ben Reilly Spider-Man. I've got the old one with the Spider Carnage accessories, so then this one will be my regular Ben Reilly. And then that armored Spider-Man looks pretty cool. Hobgoblin, I've seen some Etsy account that made a pretty cool alternate head that looks a little bit more like the cartoon, which maybe someday I'll get that. I think it was like maybe $50 for the head, and I don't know that I'm going to pay that. I think it came with a glider too, even still.
I think I saw that too. It was like $70 or something. So
yeah, and I don't think I'm
little steep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop that kind of cash for an extra head. So,
After dropping $50 on those Batman Year 2s, we're a little more cautious.
exactly.
You might get ahead and it just blows up.
Like the old Mr. Fantastic for you.
Yes, classic.
So,
Classic Mr.
another
Fantastic.
cheat for me on number 4. It's a whole wave -1 figure, but excited about those to come.
All right, and I will jump into my next figure I'm excited for, and that is the retro Scarlet Witch. I've seen, so this looks somewhat similar to the Family Matters Scarlet Witch. I think she's a little less metallic looking. The current Scarlet Witch from it's the All-Father wave is the one I have, which I've kind of talked about my gripes with the Hasbro female bodies, where they're all just kind of the same mold of just these kind of stick arms, and just really, honestly, feel a little flimsy. So, not very substantial. But I'm excited for the retro Scarlet Witch. She looks, I think, like a nice updated sculpt. Kind of fits in, honestly, like scale-wise and more proportionally, I think, with other figures. And she's got some cool effects, so I'm excited for that. I think it'll be fun to get her posed with the newer Walmart Strange, to kind of have, like, I think it'd be fun to have a MCU version of Strange and Wanda, and then the comic version, I think would be kind of cool.
That would be.
So, I'm excited for that, which I believe I have pre-ordered, and says it's shipping in February. Wait, it's February now.
It's
so
February now.
Where is she? So that might be what you got coming up. But I'm going to have to open that one, Dakota. I'm sorry. I know the box looks cool. I don't think those ones are as cool as the Spidey boxes, though. I'll give you that.
True.
So
I do plan on opening my retros. I'll do it slowly. Not one to just bust them all open. I like to wait for a rainy day when I'm feeling like I really need to open a figure and play with something new. I save them for that. So I guess maybe that's good. I haven't had too many rainy days where I felt like I needed to bust open a figure, because I still got a lot of retros in boxes.
That's how we know the state of Dakota's mental health, is how many retro figures he has opened or sealed. So
someday I run out of retro figures, then you may need to worry.
Just go buy some more at that point.
That's true.
That's how I deal with all my problems when it comes to toy collecting. Okay, Dakota, what is your next anticipated? Are you going to pick like 5 toys again, or you just got one this time?
Well, it's not 5, but it is.
Oh my goodness!
It is a multiple, but it's just in one box. It's one box, but it's got multiple figures. So my next figures that I'm excited about coming is the Shield agents. So I am excited to get those. They come with some fun accessories, some helmeted heads, unhelmeted heads. Excited to get those paired up with my new Captain America. Shoot, I should have had him on this list. He's definitely in my top 5. So, I add him in with my Shield agents. I think that's going to be cool to get Captain America leading the Shield agents, maybe with Black Widow, against my Red Skull and Hydra troopers. So excited about those coming. A little bit of a smaller army for the good guys to go up against my Hydra and AIM army builders. So it was
nice.
a cheat, and then it turned into a bigger cheat.
As these things do, rightfully so. So I believe that brings us to our number 1.
Number 2.
Most excited? No, number 2. Sorry.
And this
my
will be the
number
same
2.
for both the next 2 are going to be the same
Okay.
for both of us.
That's right. All right. So I'll introduce this one, and then you can do the next. All right.
Sounds good.
So both of our collective number 2 anticipated figure is the Walmart exclusive classic kind of. It's not not. I don't want to say retro because it's not on the retro card back, but it is a. I guess we would say just sort of classic comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange for Hasbro, which they have done versions of Strange, but not, the classic with the yellow polka dot gloves and the goatee going on, and
Right.
I'm excited for this one because it does look like they've gone all out, where he's got the alternate head, like even the retro one, where for a while, I think in the 70s, he wore a blue mask for some inexplicable reason. So you got that. You've got the different spellcasting hands, the different heads. I think he's got an axe, which is from, I believe, like some recent comics, but that's kind of fun. And then the Wand of Watum, I believe, is how you pronounce that. So I think he's got a lot of cool stuff. I think they justified making it more of a deluxe. They didn't really skimp out and just say, oh, he's a deluxe because he's got a big cape. It's like you get a bunch of accessories. And the closest thing we've had to that classic Strange has been the Toy Biz, to be quite honest, which
Right.
is just way too tiny.
It was in dire need of an update.
I'm kind of surprised it's taken them this long to do that, but it's perfect timing with the new movie coming out. And I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because we had pre-ordered from Walmart, and I remember that pre-order was up for like quite some time.
Like until last week or something.
So hopefully we don't just get notified that all our Doctor Stranges are canceled. So
Right.
we'll find out. But either way,
do you remember how much that Doctor Strange was?
I want to say like 35, maybe.
Oh, was he really? Okay, well, shows how much I paid attention. I saw Doctor Strange, said I need it, and I purchased it.
No, maybe it was more like 20. Maybe it was 30. Might have been 30.
I was thinking it couldn't be much more than 30.
It might have been 30. I don't know.
Okay,
Dude.
I just didn't know if it was priced
I mean,
as a
I think
deluxe.
that was a pre-order in like October, so I don't even remember. It just feels like I feel like a dog who just buried a treat, and I don't remember where I put it, but
And that's not supposed to come out until March or later?
Yeah, it said March,
Okay.
but
Expect
those
later.
release dates are always either early or real late, so
True. Maybe we'll be able to find it in stores before I get the pre-order. That's the way it tends to be these days anyway. But I'll still keep the pre-order, grab an extra if I just can't wait. All right. Doctor Strange was our number 2. Moving into our number 1, we are most
drumroll.
anticipating the HasLab Galactus coming out. So we're excited about this because this is going to be our first HasLab. We didn't get the Sentinel, but we decided to pool our resources and take joint custody of a Galactus. I know Jordan is super excited about the Silver Surfer coming with him, and then I am excited about the Morgue. So got some cool heralds coming with him, which I hope leads to more heralds coming right before the release of Galactus. So hopefully in the couple months leading up to that, maybe we get some Terrax and Firewalker. Maybe not an entire wave, but they did do a whole X-Men wave right before the Sentinel came out, and it was the box art of the Sentinel wave, so it seemed like it was a pretty big deal. So hopefully they do that with this Galactus, and we get some more heralds, maybe a Herald Thor. Characters like that would be super fun to have posed with that Galactus when he gets here. Looking back, I think we should have ordered 3. One will have to satisfy the both of us. We'll pose him with
because wasn't there a limit of like 5, or was it 3?
I don't remember. I mean,
Either way,
We could have easily gotten 3.
I
I mean,
think
other
if
than the
it were
money factor.
happening now, we maybe would be a little more like, hey, we should. That would be kind of fun to have. At least, well, I mean, how are you going to display your zombie Galactus if you only have one Galactus? You know,
And that
you've
Doctor
got the
Doom
zombie
Galactus.
and that Doctor Doom head. You know how I love Doctor Doom.
That's true. I mean, Doctor Doom head would make sense. I mean, that it seems like you would be the only person to display a Doctor Doom Galactus because you have so many Doctor Dooms. I was a little disappointed in that tier. I was hoping we'd get another Herald or something, but it'll be goofy and it will go well with your army of Doctor Dooms. But
Thank you.
yeah, looking back, if I was ordering them now, I would order at least 2, if not 3. Hopefully, I mean, I would just sell the other 2 to be able to keep 1 and justify it rather than dropping so much on a single toy. But then I look at the like hot toys and stuff like that are, you just buy a Captain America that's the same price as a HasLab Sentinel or Galactus.
You might as well get a 3-foot toy.
Exactly. So that is going to wrap it up for our first segment of what we are most excited about that is officially coming out. Now we'll move into our what we wish would come out. Now, Jordan, do you have any that you wish would come out that aren't Marvel Legends before we get into the actual top 5 Marvel Legends?
No, I'm all Marvel Legends here.
Well, don't worry. I've got a substantial list of figures that I wish would come out that are not Marvel Legends. So I'll shoot through those pretty quick so we don't take up too much time on them. I guess my number 1 want would be for a really cool Invincible line. Does McFarlane do the Invincibles?
No.
Okay, good. I didn't want to trash him twice in the same episode, but those Invincible figures that are out now, Invincible and Omni-Man, are not doing it for me. The articulation looks like doo-doo, and the figures aren't much better.
The figures are like that weird, like, chalky.
Yeah.
They look like alien. I mean, I guess. Well, there you go. But they don't look like that in the cartoon or comics. Right. I mean, they look really weird.
Exactly. So that's my favorite storyline. And there's so many cool characters that you could get from that storyline. Like you could have an Adam Eve and a robot, and then getting down the line, you could add in some of the other characters that join the team and that he fights against, and his other costumes that he ends up getting. It would be a super cool line, but I don't plan on getting into it if whoever's making these Invincible toys is still making them. I mean, maybe Robot would turn out cool just because how are you going to mess that up? But I'm not going to buy a robot without Invincible, and Invincible looks worse than Omni-Man. So anyway, rant over there. I wish there was a cool
Little
Invincible
do you know,
line.
Dakota, the creator of that toy line, is listening to this podcast and was about to become a sponsor.
I know.
You've lost them forever.
I always feel bad about my my dislikes because the chances of somebody important listening to this, at least these early episodes, maybe 10 years from now when we're big and famous, they'll go back and listen to these and be like, dang, I should not be taking advice from these guys on what toys to buy. So I'm sorry. I just have high expectations for Invincible. It's my favorite. You're not doing a good job right now. You can do better, though. You can do better. I believe in you. Or just stop and let somebody else do better. Anyway, that's one of my...
That's always an option.
It's one of my major wants. Another one would be probably McFarlane Multiverse would be doing the character, and that would be a Batwing. I think it's a pretty cool character. Pretty much mixes Batman and Iron Man together, and I would assume they could use some of the parts from the Batman Beyond and give us a Batwing. It'd be cool. I would probably buy that. Another multiverse figure that I think is actually leaked to possibly be coming out, but that's Red X. That was always my favorite character from the Teen Titans cartoon. Liked when Robin put on the Red X costume, and then I don't even know who the other Red X was. But thought that was a pretty cool character. Would like to have one in my display. And then my last figures would be a classic Spawn, which I think is sort of teased. He's had, like, I think his Christmas picture with that Spawn was supposed to be a new Spawn that's coming, or at least that's some of the comments I read. Maybe I'm crazy, but I would like a regular Spawn to go with all of my Spawn variations. And then a medieval Spawn from the current line. There's kind of a medieval Spawn in the Mortal Kombat line, but it's not the same medieval Spawn as from like the comic books that's currently happening, which it seems like those are the kind of characters that they're putting out right now is what's in the current comics. But that wraps it up for what I want from non-Marvel Legend lines. Now we'll bring it into the Marvel Legend line, and I don't think we have any crossover in our wants, so we don't have to be too strategic here. But Jordan, what is your number 5 of a figure that you would like to see Marvel Legends put out?
My number 5 is going to be a Herald Thor. I think we are overdue. I don't know if we're overdue. But you know what? I've been thinking about it for a little while. I think it'd be cool to have a Herald Thor from the Donny Cates storyline where, yeah, basically Galactus comes to Asgard and recruits Thor to help him essentially fight a bigger foe called the Black Winter. And I think Thor looks pretty cool there. He has some crossover later with Null and the Venom symbiote storyline, so I think that could make for some fun displays if you had Null and they had Donny Cates on their Fan First Friday, so that makes me think this one is not too crazy, might actually come true. Some of the other ones on my list, as we go on, you'll see maybe they're pie in the sky, but I think this one would be pretty cool, and I could see it happening, and it go great with Galactus. So, win-win.
Very true. And I guess it's been a little while now, but Fortnite just had their crossover with Marvel where they did a whole Fortnite season with Marvel characters, and Thor was one of the Battle Pass skins. He was the first one that you got if you got the Battle Pass, and he was the Herald Thor. And there was like that whole season storyline was about Thor being a herald of Galactus, so they could have even more reason to do that. More people now would know him, even if you don't read the comic books. I mean, that's really my only knowledge of the Herald Thor is from Fortnite. So you'd have all those Fortnite nerds like me that would also want to Herald Thor. But my number 5, I'll stick with the Herald theme, would be a new Terrax. I think, like you said, and like we said earlier, it would be fun to have more heralds than the ones that are coming with Galactus. And Terrax is one. I mean, I think that the Build-A-Figure is pretty cool, but that Build-A-Figure is going pretty high on the secondary market. I think he's around 150 now if you were going to buy him on eBay, maybe even higher. So I think that would be cool to get an updated version, and then they could do him as a deluxe maybe, or maybe even as a new Build-A-Figure. But either way, I think that would be a really good addition to the Galactus that's coming. Maybe, I don't know how you would get the like rock that he surfs on, but maybe it's a deluxe. That would be a cool addition to add to that, where Surfer's got his board and then Terrax is riding on a giant boulder. So that's my number 5. Jordan, what's your number 4?
My number 4, so pivoting away from the cosmic theme, I would love to have a retro Craven. I'm not very satisfied, Dakota, with the current Cravens on the market. I recently had, I believe it was the, oh man, I don't remember what wave. I believe the Rhino wave Craven. And he had a cool spear. He even had skulls for knee pads, but just didn't really do it for me. He just looked, I don't know. It almost looked like they made him a little too stylized. I honestly think the best Craven out there is the Toy Biz one, which is rare for me to say. But I would love a Craven that fits in a little more with the retro line. I think that he's a character they haven't done yet in the retros, and he was pretty prominent in the show.
That's very true.
So I think that'd be cool. You give him a rifle, a machete, a net. Give him a couple accessories and just let him go crazy. So it would also go well to parallel this. Last year we had all the animal themed Build-A-Figures. So
True.
get Craven, you can just have him go hunting for bears and armadillos and whatever other creatures he can find. So that is the one figure that I hope gets done in some fashion.
That is true. I had the 2-pack Craven that came with the Spider-Man, and I agree it was an okay Craven, but I do think I would much prefer a retro version from the cartoon. That would be a very cool addition to the retro line. So I'll stick with the retro line also, and I'm going to say that my number 4 would be a retro carded Rhino. So we've got the Rhino Build-A-Figure out there, and similar to Terrax, he's going pretty high on the secondary market. And I think doing a little bit of a updated, maybe, even if it wasn't even that same Rhino, like you said, Craven was pretty prominent in the animated series. I remember Rhino being in several episodes. He was a part of the Sinister Six. So he would be a welcome addition. He'd be substantial. Similar, I enjoy, like I said, I loved the Kingpin retro carded figure because you're getting a Build-A-Figure on a ginormous blister card. They said that they're going to be putting out at least one oversized blister card this year for that retro Spider-Man line. We've got a leak that it might be the Lizard, but maybe the Lizard will be the same size as Spider-Man, and Rhino will be on the oversized blister card. I kind of doubt that. I think they'll keep the Lizard the same size as the Build-A-Figure. But I guess time will tell. My hope is that Rhino is the oversized blister card figure. And then it'll be
nice.
Another animal type figure for your Craven to go hunting for.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Bring it on. Yeah, I agree with that. I guess from what I've seen of the Build-A-Figure, doesn't really grab me. I don't know. So I have the Fearsome Foes Rhino. I think I've talked about him before from Toy Biz. But again, another one that I think Toy Biz, for all of their flaws in retrospect, I think did Rhino pretty well. So I'd like to see that as well. One thing I would like to see is an army builder, Dakota, if you can guess who it's going to be, but I would love a Doombot army builder. Now, I think what would be cool, because I do love the Toy Biz, like classic, they just looked like Doom without the cape, but I think it'd be fun. There's also versions in the older comics where they almost look kind of Sentinel-esque, where they're like little guys with laser guns, which I think would be kind of fun. Or to even have more of like a heavy trooper Doombot, kind of bigger and beefed up, and just to kind of mix in with my current Dooms, because I'm just using the Toy Biz Dooms or Doombots. But I think it'd be fun to, I don't know how they would do that. Maybe they'd do like a combo pack where you get one bigger one and one smaller one, or you could swap the heads or something. I'm not sure. But I'm trust Hasbro would have that one under control. So I think that would be pretty cool. We haven't seen that. I mean, we get the Hydra, we get the AIM army builders, but Dakota, where is the love for the Doombot army builders out there?
Right. And when you say the heavy Doombot, I imagine the Doombot being like the Doombots that are in the queue line at Universal when you're going
Yes,
on the
honestly,
Dr. Doom.
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know if that was too much of a deep cut reference, but yes.
You know how I love the Universal, so.
That's true. If you don't know what we're talking about, go Google Dr. Doom's Fearfall queue, and you'll see some probably photos of the line, and they're just these big old Doombots with like, I don't know if they have machine gun hands, but at least one of them does.
I mean, they look pretty similar to the Kree Sentry that came out, right?
Yeah, you could probably repurpose that.
Yeah. Do a few tweaks to that and then be a cheap Doom for you. I mean, if it's a Build-A-Figure, though, it might be a pretty expensive army builder, but maybe they give you the smaller Dooms as your army builders, and then you can get the deluxe, or maybe they just repurpose that Kree Sentry as a new Build-A-Figure and give it to you as a Doombot.
This might be getting dangerous for my wallet, Dakota. We should probably stop giving Hasbro ideas here.
All right, well then I'll move on to my next wish list figure, and that is going to be a Sabretooth. So this Sabretooth, I'm not sure if I want him necessarily on the like VHS cel-shaded style, but I do want that like Jim Lee animated series style larger Sabretooth. We've got the first appearance Sabretooth coming out in the new X-Men wave. That's one that I'll probably pass on because in my eyes, Sabretooth is always that animated series with the big yellow fur, the tiger stripes, things like that. The best Sabretooth I've ever seen is that custom that somebody took the Build-A-Figure Caliban and then added the extra parts to make it a Sabretooth. That one looked super cool, and that's what I would hope to see in a new, larger Sabretooth coming out. I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a far-fetched dream this year because they already have the first appearance coming out. Would they give us 2 Sabretooths? I guess they're giving us 5 Doctor Stranges or something like that. So maybe 2 Sabretooths isn't that far out there, but eventually I would like to have that larger Sabretooth because even the like Apocalypse Wave Sabretooth is on the smaller side, comparing him with the other figures. Would like a little bit larger of a Sabretooth than the ones that we currently have out. Because I know the Toy Biz one was on that bigger side, but the Toy Biz one doesn't really go in with the current stuff that we have. I still have him because he's cool, but not necessarily for displaying with the rest of your X-Men. So Sabretooth is up on my wish list.
I'd like to see him too. I agree. I think even the Apocalypse Wave 1 is a little too small, and the new one just looks too goofy. So give me that 90s big, kind of bulky Sabretooth with a whole bunch of fur on his back for some reason. So
maybe you can repurpose the fur from Ursa Major. Put the Ursa Major fur on Caliban.
There you go. Maybe we'll work on that one. Okay, that brings us to my number 2, I believe.
Yes.
And that is, I think, something a lot of people have talked about, but I would love Dakota to, I guess, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's been a month and a half, so if not, what are you doing? I would love to see a 3-pack of the Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I think that'd be a pretty cool way to... I guess I'd love to see what Hasbro would do with those. At least Andrew... Well, I guess they've made Andrew Garfield before. I think his could be improved. I've had his.
Yeah.
But I really think they could make a really cool Tobey Maguire one. So, just give him some web effects, give him some extra heads, some hands, and I think you could get some pretty cool displays going with those guys, and I think you and I have talked about this, that people would buy those like crazy.
Oh yeah, Hasbro would make all of the money. I don't think any of those would ever see clearance. I mean, I would definitely buy that as soon as it came out, and I would buy a second one to, I don't know, maybe I'm outing myself as a scalper, but I would see myself more as an investor, because I'm going to keep one, because if this 3-pack is anything even remotely close to the retro Spider-Man, somebody bought that retro Spider-Man for $20 and now it's going for 150 or in that ballpark area.
Right.
I would have to imagine that this Spider-Man 3-pack would go insane, because those other Spider-Mans, like the Andrew Garfield and the Tobey Spideys, maybe because there's not very many of them, maybe that's why they're so sought after. But yes, an updated version of both of them would be very cool. And even if they used some of the same figures they've got now, like the same bucks, use the smaller MCU Spider-Man for Tom Holland, use maybe the retro Spider-Man for Tobey, and then a retro Pizza Spider-Man for Andrew Garfield. Maybe I'm crazy there, but having the different sizes to the characters would be cool too. I don't know that Tobey is bigger than Andrew, but put them however the order would be. But yes, that would be an amazing 3-pack. And what do you think your chances are of getting that? You think they're good, or you think that's just crazy?
I feel like Hasbro would be crazy not to cash in on that, personally.
And you think they would do it as a 3-pack, or would they do separate figures?
If they want to make a bunch of money, they'd make it a 3-pack, because then you know what I'm saying? Because people are going to pay for it. Because people, I think, would just say, I don't want the Tom Holland one. Oops, sorry. I don't know why I apologize to the floor. People would be like, kind of just buy the ones they want, whereas if it's a 3-pack, you got to get it. You got to pay the whatever. What would it be?
It'd be
$60 price tag, probably?
$63 is what I think the X-Force and the Excalibur 3-packs were.
So, I don't know.
Very true.
I'm excited.
If they wanted to make the money, they would just do both. They would give us the individual figures, they'd give us a 3-pack, and they'd say, buy all of this stuff.
Absolutely. And people would. And you and I would line right up.
Exactly. Take my money.
All right.
It's
your number 2, Dakota.
My number 2 is going to be kind of an oddball, probably a low chance of getting it, but it's going to be Penance. So I think he would be a cool addition to anyone that is making like their Dark Avengers, Dark Reign storyline team. I just think he's got a super cool costume. That was kind of earlier on in my comic book reading, kind of like when I was really like going to Half Price Bookstore and getting lots of comics. I was always excited about getting ones with him in it. Like I said, he just looks awesome, cool powers. And we've got some of the other folks from the team he would be on, so I could see them maybe rounding that team out. But it is kind of one of those more obscure characters. It's not really, I don't think he's got anything to do with anything more currently. So it would be going back in time to create an old team that's maybe not the most popular team. Like I know people really want that Phoenix to complete. They want their Wolfsbane and Feral. So he may not be as high on the list as those characters, but I would love to get that figure. And that'd be a good figure for Todd McFarlane to make, because Todd McFarlane loves putting spikes on his figures. Every time I try to articulate a McFarlane toy, I feel like I've got a spike going through my thumb. So,
but it's so worth it.
It is. You gotta know, you gotta have the feeling of playing with your toys, and that feeling is pain.
Gotta bleed for what you love.
Exactly.
Well, that brings us to my number 1, and that is, Dakota, a new and improved retro Spider-Man. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jordan. There's a million Spider-Mans. They're always making them. And I get that. But I need one more. So, the way I'm going to justify this one is, you might be mad at me, but I don't want Rhino. I want a deluxe retro Spider-Man. Okay?
Okay.
And you know what I want with this one, Dakota? I want some garnishes, dude. I want wall crawling hands. I want web hands. I want webs in there. I want a web trap or something. Not like a gimmicky, you press a button, but like some webs, you know. And then maybe give him a couple different heads. Give him a Peter Parker head. Give him a classic head. Give him a big old McFarlane-ized head. Give him maybe a battle damage head. You know, his little mask is torn on the bottom. So you could kind of do different art styles, but you could sort of evoke them with one Spidey. And, because I don't know. I mean, I don't really like the super skinny, like pizza Spidey body. And for whatever reason, the retro Spidey for me, his eyes are off.
Yeah.
So I think they could perfect that, and I think it would be awesome.
Was there two head sculpts in that retro Spider-Man?
Yeah, but they're
wasn't there?
Marginally different. It's like
yeah,
one is slightly bigger than the other one, but like neither of them are like those big old McFarlane eyes or the classic. You know, I don't know. I think it would be really cool, and I would definitely get one of those, I think, to keep in package, and one of those to be opened. So
you're gonna keep one in box.
That one might turn me into an inbox collector if they do it right, but I doubt it.
It'd be cool to get a like a camera spider webbed up to the wall type of accessory too. We don't have that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very cool. That would be a cool figure.
We'll see.
This list is shaping up to be sort of like your top 10 list of half of it is Spider-Man related.
That's true. Well, I don't have enough. I need more Spidey. Get me Spider-Man.
Nice. And that was your one that you wouldn't tell me ahead of time that you didn't think I was going to guess?
No, there's one more, actually. Right, well, I've got like a bonus.
Okay, you got a bonus.
Because you had the McFarlane...
That's true, okay.
...sort of extended list, DC list, so I need a little something to have at the end.
Okay, so then I'll get into my number one, and then we'll hear what your bonus is. So my number one may seem a little random, but if you know me and how I like my gun-handed figures, then you would know that this figure is random. That is, his name is Random. So there's a figure that I know next to nothing about, but he's got a hand cannon shaped thing. He's a big buff dude, so maybe he'd be a Build-A-Figure. I would hope he'd be substantial. And I think this would be decently easy for Hasbro to do. I mean, obviously you'd have to redo it a little bit, but I imagine he could be used on the AOA Colossus, or at least reuse his head, because Random has like that do-rag bandana. I guess it doesn't quite go over his eyes, so a little bit of a difference there, but some slight retooling. Instead of having the armor plates, just make it a solid. Give him his jean jacket, his tattoos, and his giant weapon for a hand, and I would be very happy. He would be a instant buy for me. I would probably have to buy that whole wave just for the figure, even if the figures in the wave weren't that great. He would just go into my X-Men. He wouldn't even need it. He'd have his own shelf. He's cool. I like him. No reason. I should read something with him in it, but I think I've maybe got a couple comics from when I was a kid. Maybe my uncle was just like, here, you can have these comics that I don't need. And that was my first introduction to him, and then into the Marvel trading cards. And yeah, I don't think he was ever in any cartoons, so don't know a lot about him. But what is your bonus surprise character that you wish would be made?
So This is a pitch, Dakota, for an entire wave.
Okay.
With a Build-A-Figure.
Okay.
So ideally, this one's going to come out in October, Halloween time. Time it perfectly, Hasbro. And they will release a Legion of Monsters wave. Now, we're going to get, what we would get, if I were calling the shots, you get Manphibian. He's kind of like the creature from the Black Lagoon, you know. You get the Living Mummy. You get a new Werewolf by Night. Throw Frankenstein in there. Heck, maybe even Dracula. And you would, with each of them, get a piece to make the ultimate monster Build-A-Figure, which would be Frankencastle.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure how much, Dakota, you know about the Frankencastle storyline, but essentially Frank Castle, the Punisher, is killed, cut into pieces, and thrown into the sewer, and the Legion of Monsters who live down there find him and stitch him back together and use magic and technology and science to resuscitate him as a literal Frankenstein, Frankencastle type creature, and he has to team up with the Legion of Monsters. And I thought this storyline was really cool. It got canceled way too early because people didn't like it, and they said it was too different. But I thought it was really cool, and I would buy that whole wave, absolutely. You know it. If it was all monsters, Frankencastle was in there. I do. So that would be my ultimate wish wave, but I feel like there's no way that's going to happen. The other things I've wished for, I think I could see happening, but I don't know. Maybe there's a Frankencastle Legion of Monsters fan, but they just don't seem to love the monsters as much as I would like.
True. I could definitely see them giving us a new Werewolf by Night. That seems somewhat likely. I've heard quite a few people say that they want an updated version of that. So maybe there's enough chatter amongst the collectors that could get heard by Hasbro, and they consider doing that. But yeah, I agree. The entire wave might be challenging. I could see maybe they do something along the lines of the old Toy Biz box sets where they do maybe like a PulseCon exclusive throwback to those old box sets where maybe they give us the 4 monsters that they gave us before with the Frankenstein, Dracula, werewolf, and zombie. And then maybe some other, I doubt they would give us an X-Men wave, but maybe like that House of M wave, redo that and give us that. So that would probably be on the pricier side, probably pushing $100. But you're getting 4 figures in there. Hopefully some sort of like bases or creepy effects with the zombies. Yeah, I could see that possibly being. Frankencastle might be a stretch. You may have to customize a Frankencastle.
I know. And I do not have the abilities for that, so I need to commission that one. But
right. All right.
All right. Wow. Well, that is an exciting glimpse into what is to come and what may yet be to come. We'll do a check-in at the end of the year to see how many, if any, of our predictions came true.
And if we were as excited when we got our most anticipated releases. Hopefully none of them have exploding arms.
I was about to say, we open Galactus and his arms just blow up.
I would hope that they got the QC issues under control with their Sentinel, with so many people.
That's true.
Complaining about
knees,
the knees.
Right?
Yeah. So, we'll see. Hopefully that turns Galactus better. And, yeah, I don't really ever have any worries about opening up my Marvel Legends and their arms breaking off. Maybe their crotch is exploding if it's White Doctor Doom or Stealth Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Most of the time, not really worried about it. But that is our list of what we're excited for and what's coming. Next time, we'll take a glimpse into the future with some leaks. We sort of mentioned those today, but We've seen some leaks in the Facebook groups of what we have coming. We don't know whether they're true or not, but I'll take any leak and news of new toys, and we'll chat about what's possibly coming a little bit more solidly than our wish list. So if you want to see any of the figures that we're talking about, like our What You Got segments, chances are we're going to post pictures of that on our Instagram. You can follow us there. That's The Strong Collectors on Instagram again. Tag us in some of your mail hauls and What You Got. Let us know what you think of our What You Gots. What do you think of our list? Are you thinking we're crazy that Jordan wants a deluxe Spider-Man and I want a random figure? What's your most anticipated for the year, and what are you most hoping that Hasbro makes? Let us know. Send us a message of what podcasts you want us to do in the future. We're really coming to an end on this yearly wrap-up. We've done the year in review of each wave that came out. Now we've done what we're hoping for and what we're excited for in the future. And then we're going to do the episode on the leaks. And then after that, we're going to get into some new stuff. So if you have ideas to add to our list of podcasts, let us know what you want to hear, because these are as much for you as they are for us. And I look forward to hearing you. Make sure you like and subscribe the things on whatever platform you're listening to. Follow us, share us, all the good stuff. And until next time, stay strong.